is Sock Mabel, and I am the unofficial mascot and starlet on the rise of BYO Shakespeare. And tonight, you will be very excited you are here because I am making my Shakespeare debut. All right, so welcome everyone. As you are already aware, you are not in a regular theater. You are in your living room or kitchen or ballroom or, well, wherever you are, we're glad you're here. We are likewise performing from our homes. And so that means that just like in regular live theater in a theater, we may find some things might go wrong along the way. So please bear with us for any miscellaneous sounds you might get to hear, such as our very loud cats or our very loud cars driving by or whatever. You get the idea. So now I highly suggest that you get ready to get weird as the team from BYO Shakespeare. Oh no, I forgot. Oh, sorry. So we're on YouTube and we're on YouTube Live, and that means there's a chat function. And so we invite you to participate with us in that live chat at any point during the show. And at the very end of the show, we will also have a time that you can ask questions if you want. Oh, and in the Facebook event, you can also submit yourself to see if you might win our costume contest. It's mostly just for bragging rights, but if you want to participate, go ahead. And now, without any further ado, because I think we finally remembered everything, BYO Shakespeare presents Macbeth.
Macbeth by William Shakespeare. Act 1. Scene 1. A desert place. Enter 3 witches.
When shall we 3 meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?
When the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won.
That will be the ere the set of sun.
Where's the place?
Upon the heath.
There to meet with Macbeth.
I come, Grimalkin.
Paddock calls.
Anon.
Fair is foul.
And foul is fair.
Hover through the fog and fill the air.
Scene 2. A camp of war near Forres. Enter King Duncan, Malcolm, Donalbain with attendants, meeting a bleeding Lennox.
What bloody man is that? He can report, as seemeth by his plight, by the revolt the new estate.
This is the sergeant who, like a good and hardy soldier, fought against my captivity. Hail, brave friend. Say to the king the knowledge of the broil as thou didst leave it.
Doubtful it stood, as 2 spent swimmers that do cling together and choke their art. The merciless MacDonald, worthy to be a rebel, for to that the multiplying villainies of nature do swarm upon him. From the western isles of kerns and gallow-glasses is supplied, and fortune, on his damned quarrel smiling, showed like a rebel's whore. But all's too weak, for brave Macbeth, well he deserves that name, disdaining fortune with his brandished steel, which smoked with bloody execution, like Valier's minion, carved out his passage until he faced the slave, which ne'er shook hands, nor bade farewell to him, till he unseamed him from the nave to the chops, and fixed his head upon our battlements.
O valiant cousin, worthy gentleman!
As whence the sun gins his reflection, shipwracking storms and direful thunders break, so from that spring whence comfort seemed to come, discomfort swells. Mark, King of Scotland, mark, No sooner justice had, with valor armed, compelled these skipping kerns to trust their heels, but the Norwegian lord, surveying vantage, with furbished arms and new supplies of men, began a fresh assault.
Dismayed not this our captains, Macbeth and Banquo?
Yes, as arrows, eagles, or hare the lion. If I say sooth, I must report they were as cannons overcharged with double cracks, so they doubly redoubled strokes upon the foe, except they meant to bathe in reeking wounds or memorize another Gallica, I cannot tell. But I am faint. My gashes cry for help.
So well thy words become thee as thy wounds. They smack of honor both. Go, get him, surgeons.
Lennox is led off by attendants. Enter Ross and Angus.
Who comes here?
The worthy Thane of Ross.
What a haste looks through his eyes, so should he look that seems to speak things strange.
God save the king.
Whence camest thou, worthy thing?
From Fife, great king, where the Norwegian banners flout the sky and fan our people cold. Norway himself with terrible numbers, assisted by that most disloyal traitor, the Thane of Cawdor, began a dismal conflict, till that Bellona's bridegroom, lapped in proof, confronted him with self-comparisons, point against point, rebellious arm against arm, curbing his lavish spirits, and to conclude, the victory fell on us.
Great happiness.
That now Sweno, the Norway's king, craves composition, nor would we deign him burial of his men till he dispersed at St. Colm's Inch $10,000 to our general use.
No more that Thane of Cawdor shall deceive our bosom interest. Go, pronounce his present death, and with his former title greet Macbeth.
I'll see it done.
What he hath lost, noble Macbeth hath won.
Scene 3. The heath near Forres. Enter the three witches.
Where hast thou been, sister?
Killing swine.
Sister, where thou?
A sailor's wife had chestnuts in her lap, and munched, and munched, and munched. Give me, quoth I. All right, thee witch, the rump-fed Runyon cries. Her husband's to Aleppo gone, master of the tiger. But in a sieve I'll thither sail, and like a rat without a tail, I'll do.
I'll give thee a wind.
That kind.
And I another.
I myself have all the others, and the very ports they blow, all the quarters that they know in the shapeman's card. I'll drain him dry as hay. Sleep shall neither night or day hang on his penthouse lid. He shall live a man forbid. Weary 7 nights, 9 times 9 shall he dwindle, peak, and pine. Though his bark cannot be lost, yet it shall be tempest-tossed. Look what I have.
Show me, show me.
Here I have a pilot's thumb, racked as homeward he did come.
A drum, Macbeth doth come.
The weird sisters, hand in hand.
Boasters of the sea and land.
Thus do go about.
Thrice to thine and thrice to mine.
And thrice again to make up 9.
Peace, the charms wound up.
Enter Macbeth and Banquo.
So fair and foul a day I've never seen.
How far'st called to Forres? What are these? So withered and so wild in their attire that look not like the inhabitants of the earth and yet are on it. Live you? Or are you aught that man may question? You seem to understand me by each at once her choppy finger laying upon her skinny lips. You should be women, And yet your beards forbid me to interpret that you are so.
Speak if you can. What are you?
All hail, Macbeth. Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis.
Hail, Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor!
All hail Macbeth, and shalt be king hereafter.
Good sir, why do you start and seem to fear things that do sound so fair? In the name of truth, are you fantastical, or that indeed which outwardly you show? My noble partner you greet with present grace and great prediction of noble having and royal hope, that he seems rapt withal. To me you speak not. If you can look into the seeds of time and say which grain will grow and which will not, speak then to me, who neither beg nor fear your favors nor your hate.
Hail.
Hail!
Hail.
Lesser than Macbeth and greater.
Not so happy, but much happier.
Thou shalt get kings, though thou be none. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo.
Banquo and Macbeth, all hail.
Hey, you imperfect speakers. Tell me more. By Sinel's death I know I am Thane of Glamis, but how of Cawdor? The Thane of Cawdor lives, a prosperous gentleman, and to be king stands not within the prospect of belief, no more than to be Cawdor. Say from whence you owe this strange intelligence, or why upon this blasted heath you stop our way with such prophetic greeting. Speak, I charge you.
The earth hath bubbles, as the water has, and these are of them. Whither are they vanished?
Into the air, and what seemed corporeal melted as breath into the wind. Would they had stayed.
Were such things here as we do speak about? Or have we eaten on the insane root that takes reason prisoner?
Your children shall be kings.
You shall be king.
Ooh, and Thane of Cawdor too, went it not so?
To the self-same tune and words. Who's here?
And to Ross and Angus.
The king hath happily received, Macbeth, the news of thy success. And when he reads thy personal venture in the rebels' fight, his wonders and praises do contend which should be thine or his. Silenced with that, in viewing o'er the rest of the self-same day, he finds thee in stout Norwegian ranks, nothing afeard of what thyself didst to make strange images of death. As thick as tale came post with post, and everyone did bear thy praises in his kingdom's great defense, and poured them down before him.
We are sent to give thee from our royal master thanks, only to herald thee into his sight, not pay thee.
And for an earnestness of greater honor, he bade me from him call thee Thane of Cawdor, in which addition, hail, most worthy Thane, for it is thine.
What? Can the devil speak true?
The Thane of Cawdor lives. Why do you dress me in borrowed robes?
Who was the Thane lives yet, but under heavy judgment bears that life which he deserves to lose. Whether he was combined with those of Norway, or did line the rebel with hidden help and vantage, or that with both he labored in his country's wrack, I know not. But treason's capital, confessed and proved, have overthrown him.
Glamis and Thane of Cawdor. The greatest is behind. Thank you for your pains. Do you not hope that your children will be kings, when those that gave the Thane of Cawdor to me proved no less to them?
That trusted home might yet enkindle you unto the crown, besides the Thane of Cawdor. But 'tis strange, and oftentimes to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness tell us truths, win us with honest trifles to betray us in deepest consequence. Cousins, a word, I pray you.
Two truths are told as happy prologues to the swelling act of the imperial theme. I thank you, gentlemen. Supernatural soliciting cannot be ill, cannot be good. If ill, Why hath it given me earnest of success commencing in a truth? I am Thane of Cawdor. If good, why do I yield to that suggestion, whose horrid image doth unfix my hair and make my seated heart knock at my ribs against the use of nature? Present fears are less than horrible imaginings. My thought, whose murder is but yet fantastical, shakes so my single state of man that function is smothered in surmise, and nothing is but what it is not.
Look how our partner's rapt.
Chance will have me, king. My chance may crown me without my stir.
Now honors come upon him like our strange garments, cleave not to their mold, but with the aid of use.
Come what come may, time and the hour runs through the roughest day.
Worthy Macbeth, we stay upon your leisure.
Oh, give me your favor. My dull brain was wrought with things forgotten. Kind gentlemen, your pains are registered where every day I turn the leaf to read them. Let us toward the king. Think upon what has chanced, and at more time, the interim having waited, let us speak our free hearts to each other.
Very gladly.
Till then, come, friends.
Scene 4, the palace. Enter King Duncan, Lennox, Malcolm, Donalbain, and attendants.
Is execution done on Cawdor? Are not those in commission yet returned?
My liege, they are not yet come back, but I have spoke with one that saw him die, who did report that very frankly he confessed his treasons, implored by your highness pardon, and set forth a deep repentance. Nothing in his life became him like the leaving it. He died as one that had been studied in his death to throw away the dearest thing he owed, as tore a careless trifle.
There's no art to find the man's construction in the face. He was a gentleman on whom I built an absolute trust.
Enter Macbeth, Banquo, Ross, and Angus.
O worthiest cousin, the sin of my ingratitude even now was heavy on me. Thou art so far before that swiftest wing of recompense is slow to overtake thee. Would thou hadst less deserved, that the proportion both of thanks and payment might have been mine. Only I have left to say, more is thy due, than more than all can pay.
The service and the loyalty I owe in doing pays itself. Your highness's part is to receive our duties, and our duties are to your throne and state children and servants, which do but what they should be by doing everything safe towards your love and honor.
Welcome hither. I have begun to plant thee, and will labor to make thee full of growing. Noble Banquo, thou hast no less deserved, nor must be known no less to have done so. Let me enfold thee and hold thee to my heart.
If thou plant thee, I will be thine.
My plenteous joys, wanton in fullness, seek to hide themselves in drops of sorrow. Sons, kinsmen, thanes, and you whose places are the nearest, know we will establish our estate upon our eldest, Malcolm, whom we name hereafter the Prince of Cumberland, which honor must not unaccompanied invest him only, but signs of nobleness, like stars, shall shine on all deservers, from hence to Inverness, and bind us further to you.
The rest is labor which is not used for you. I'll be myself the harbinger and make joyful the hearing of my wife with your approach. So humbly take my leave.
My worthy Cawdor.
The Prince of Cumberland. This is a step on which I must fall down or else o'erleap, for in my way it lies. Stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires. The eye wink at the hand, yet let that be which the eye fears when it is done to see.
True, worthy Banquo, he is full so valiant, and in his commendations I am fed. It is a banquet to me. That's after him, whose care is gone before to bid us welcome. It is a peerless kinsman.
Scene 5. Inverness, Macbeth's castle. Enter Macbeth's wife, alone with a letter.
They met me in the day of success, and I have learned by the perfectest report they have more in them than mortal knowledge. When I burned in desire to question them further, they made themselves air into which they vanished. Whilst I stood wrapped in the wonder of it, came missives from the king, who all hailed me Thane of Cawdor, by which title before these weird sisters saluted me and referred me to the coming of time with Hail, King that shall be. This I have thought good to deliver thee, my dearest partner of greatness, that thou mightst not lose the dues of rejoicing by being ignorant of what greatness is promised thee. Lay it to thy heart, and farewell. Glamis thou art, and Cawdor, and shall be what thou art promised. Yet I do fear thy nature. It is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. Thou wouldst be great, art not without ambition, but without the illness should attend it. What thou wouldst highly, thou wouldst thou holily, wouldst not play false, and yet wouldst wrongly win. Thou'dst have, great Glamis, that which cries, that thou must do if thou have it, and that which rather thou dost fear to do than wishest should be undone. Hie thee hither, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear and chastise with the valor of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round, which fate and metaphysical aid doth seem to have thee crowned withal.
Enter a messenger.
What is your tidings?
The king comes here tonight.
Thou art mad to say it. Is not thy master with him, who, wert so, would have informed for preparation?
So please you, it is true. Our Thane is coming. One of my fellows had the speed of him, who, almost dead for breath, had scarcely more than would make up his message.
Give him tending, he brings great news. The raven himself is hoarse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits, unsex me here, and fill me from the crown to the top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood, stop up the access and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shall shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it. Come to my woman's breast and take my milk for gall, you murdering ministers, wherever in your sightless substance you wait on nature's mischief. Come, thick night, and pall thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of dark to cry, hold, hold!
Enter Macbeth.
Great Glamis, worthy Cawdor, greater than both by the all hail hereafter. Thy letters have transported me beyond this ignorant present, and I feel now the future in the instant.
My dearest love, Duncan comes here tonight.
And when goes hence?
Tomorrow, as he purposes.
Oh, never shall sun that morrow see. Your face, my Thane, is as a book where men may read strange matters. To beguile the time, look like the time. Bear welcome in your eye, your hand, your tongue. Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it. He that's coming must be provided for, and you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch, which shall to all our nights and days to come give solely sovereign sway and masterdom.
We will speak further.
Only look up clear. To alter favor ever is to fear. Leave all the rest to me.
Scene 6. Before Macbeth's castle. Enter King Duncan, Malcolm, Donalbain, Banquo, Lennox, Macduff, Ross, Angus, and their attendants.
This castle hath a pleasant seat. The air nimbly and sweetly recommends itself unto our gentle senses.
This gust of summer, the temple-haunting martlet does approve by his loved mansionry, that the heaven's breath smells wooingly here. No jutty frieze, buttress, nor coign of vantage, but this bird hath made his pendant bed and procreant cradle. Where they most breed and haunt, I have observed the air is delicate.
See our honored hostess. The love that follows us sometime is our trouble, which still we thank as love. Herein I teach you how you shall bid God yield us for your pains, and thank us for your trouble.
All our service and every point twice done and then done double, were poor and single business to contend against these honors deep and broad wherewithal. Your majesty loads our house. For those of old and the lake dignities heaped upon them, we rest your hermits.
Where's that Thane of Cawdor? We coursed him at the heels and had a purpose to be his purveyor, but he rides well, and his great love, sharp as his spur, have helped him to his home before us. Fair and noble hostess, we are your guest tonight.
Your servants ever have theirs themselves and what is theirs in compt to make their audit at your highness' pleasure, still to return your own.
Give me your hand. Conduct me to mine host. We love him highly, and shall continue our graces towards him. By your leave, hostess.
Scene 7. Macbeth's castle. Enter Macbeth.
If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. If the assassination could trammel up the consequence and catch with his surety success, but that this blow might be the be-all and end-all here. But here, upon this bank and shoal of time, we jump the life to come. But in these cases, we still have judgment here, and that we teach bloody instructions which being taught return to plague the inventor. This even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poisoned chalice to our own lips. He's here in double trust. First, as I am his kinsman and the subject, strong both against the deed, and then, as his host, who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself. Besides this, Duncan hath borne his faculties so meek, hath been so clear in his great office, that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off, and pity, like a naked newborn babe striding the blast, or heaven's cherubim horsed upon the sightless couriers of the air, shall blow the horrid deed in every eye, that tears shall drown the wind. I have no spears to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which o'erleaps itself and falls the other.
Enter Lady Macbeth.
How now, what news?
He has almost supped. Why have you left the chamber?
Hath he asked for me?
Know you not he has?
We will proceed no further in this business. He hath honored me of late, and I have brought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which would be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon.
Was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Has it slept since and wakes it now to look so green and pale at what it did so freely? From this time shall I account thy love. Art thou afeard to be the same in thine own act and valor as thou art in desire? Wouldst thou have that which thou esteemest the ornament of life, and live a coward in thy own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would like the poor cat in the adage?
Prithee, peace. I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none.
What beast was then that made you break this enterprise to me? When you durst do it, then you were a man. And to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man. Nor time nor place did then adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves, and their fitness now dost unmake you. I have given suck, and know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from its boneless gums, and dashed the brains out, had I so sworn as you have done to this.
If we should fail.
We fail? Screw your courage to the sticking place, and will not fail. When Duncan is asleep, whereto the rather shall his hard day's journey soundly invite him, his 2 chamberlains will I with wine and wassail so convince that memory, the warder of the brain, shall be a fume, and the receipt of reason a limbic only. When in swinish sleep their drenched natures lies as in a death, what cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy officers who shall bear the guilt of our great quell.
Bring forth men, children only, for thy undaunted mettle should compose nothing but males. Will it not be received when we have marked with blood those sleepy two of his own chamber and used their very daggers that they have done it?
Who dares receive it other, as we shall make our griefs and clamor roar upon his death?
I'm settled and bent up. Each corporeal agent to this terrible feat, away, and mock the time with fairest show. False face must hide what the false heart doth know.
Act 2. Scene 1. Court of Macbeth's castle. Enter Banquo with a torch before him.
The moon is down. I have not heard the clock, and she goes down at 12. Who's
Enter
there?
Macbeth.
A friend.
What, sir? Not yet at rest? The king's abed. He hath been an unusual pleasure, and sent forth great largesse to your offices. This diamond he greets your wife withal, by the name of most kind hostess, and shut up in measureless content.
Being unprepared, our will became the servant to defect, which else should free have wrought.
All's well. I dreamt last night of the three weird sisters. To you they have showed some truth.
I think not of them. Yet, when we can entreat an hour to serve, we would spend it in some words upon that business, if you would grant the time.
At your kindest leisure.
If you shall cleave to my consent, when 'tis, it shall make honor for you.
So I lose none in seeking to augment it, but still keep my bosom franchised and allegiance clear. I shall be counseled.
Good repose the while.
Thanks, sir, the like to you.
Is this a dagger I see before me, the handle to my hand? Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not, fatal vision, sensible to feelings, so much as sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation proceeding from the heat-oppressed brain? I see thee yet, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshallest me the way I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. My eyes are made fools of other senses, or else worth all the rest. I see these still, and on thy blade indulgent gouts of blood, which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs us to mine eyes. Now, or the one half of the world nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtained sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings and withered murder, alarmed by his sentinel, the wolf, whose howls his watch, thus with his stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing strides towards his design moves like a ghost. Thou sure and firm set earth, fear not my steps, which way they walk, for fear the very stones prate of my whereabouts, and take the present horror from the time, which now suits with it. Whilst I threat he lives, words to the heat of deeds to cold breath gives. I go, and it's done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell.
Scene 2. Enter Lady Macbeth.
That which hath made them drunk hath made me bold. What hath quenched them hath given me fire. Hark, peace. Was the owl that shrieked, the fatal bellman which gives the sternest good night. He is about it. The doors are open, and the surfeited grooms do mock their charge with snores. I have drugged their possets, that death and nature do contend about them whether they live or die.
Whoa, who's there?
Ah, alack, I am afraid they have awakened, and 'tis not done. The attempt and not the deed confounds us. Hark, I laid their daggers ready. He could not miss him. Had he not resembled my father as he slept, I had done it. My husband?
I've done the deed. Didst thou not hear a noise?
I heard the owl scream and the crickets cry. Did you not speak?
When?
Now.
As I descended.
Aye.
Hark! Who lies in the second chamber?
Donald Bane.
This is a sorry sight.
Foolish thought to say a sorry sight.
One did laugh in his sleep, and one cried murder, that they did wake each other. I stood and heard them, but they did say their prayers and adjust them again to sleep.
There were two lodged together.
One cried, God bless us, and amen the other, as they'd seen these hangman's hands. And I could not say amen when they did say God bless us.
Consider it not so deeply.
But wherefore could I not pronounce amen? I had most need of blessing, and amen stuck in my throat.
These deeds must not be thought after these ways, so it will make us mad.
Methought I heard a voice cry, sleep no more, Macbeth, the murder sleep. The innocent sleep. The sleep that knits up the raveled sleeve of care. The death of each day's life, sore labor's bath. Balm of hurt minds. Great nature's second course. Chief nourisher in life's feet.
What do you mean?
Still it cried, sleep no more to all the house. Glameth hath murdered sleep, and therefore Cawdor shall sleep no more. Macbeth shall sleep no more.
Who was it that thus cried? Why, worthy thane, you do unbend your noble strength to think so brain sickly of things. Go get some water and wash this filthy witness from your hands. Why did you bring these daggers from the place? They must lie there. Go carry them and smear the sleepy grooms with blood.
I'll go no more. I'm afraid to think of what I have done. Look on it again, I dare not.
Infirm of purpose, give me the daggers. The sleeping and the dead are but as pictures. 'Tis the eye of childhood that fears a painted devil. If he do bleed, I'll gild the faces of the grooms withal, for it must seem their guilt.
Lady Macbeth exits with the daggers.
'Tis that knocking. How is it with me that every sound appalls me? What hands are here? They pluck out mine eyes. Will all of great Neptune's ocean wash this blood clean from my hand? No. This my hand will rather the multitudinous seas incarnadine, making the green one red.
My hands are of your color, but I shame to wear a heart so white. I hear a knocking at the south entry. Retire we to our chamber. A little water clears us of this deed. How easy 'tis then. Your constancy hath left you unattended. Hark, hark, more knocking. Get on your nightgown, lest occasion call us and show us to be watchers. Be not lost so poorly in your thoughts.
To know my deed were best not know myself. Wake Duncan with thy knocking. I would thou couldst.
Scene 3. Enter a porter.
There's the knocking indeed. If a man were a porter of Hellgate, he should have old turning the key. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there in the name of Beelzebub? Here's a farmer that hanged himself on the expectation of plenty. Come in time. Have napkins enough about you here. You'll sweat for it. Knock, knock. Who's there in the other devil's name? Faith. Here's an equivocator that could swear in both the scales against either scale, who committed treason enough for God's sake, yet could not equivocate to heaven. Oh, come in, equivocator. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? Faith. Here's an English tailor come hither for stealing out of a French coat. Come in, Taylor. Here you may roast your goose. Ah, ah. Never inquire. What are you? Oh, this place is too cold for hell. I'll devil porter it no further. I had thought to have let in some of all professions that go the primrose way to the everlasting bonfire. Anon, anon.
The porter opens the door to Macduff and Lennox.
I pray you remember the porter.
Was it so late, friend, ere you went to bed, that you do lie so late?
Hey, sir, we were carousing until the second cock, and drink, sir, is a great provoker of three things.
What three things does drink especially provoke?
Marry, sir, nose painting, sleep, and urine. Lechery, sir, it provokes and unprovokes. It provokes the desire, but it takes away the performance. Therefore, much drink may be said to be an equivocator with lechery. It makes him and it mars him. It sets him on, it takes him off. It persuades him and disheartens him, makes him stand to and not stand to. In conclusion, equivocates him in sleep, and giving him the lie, leaves him.
I believe drink gave thee the lie last night.
Oh, that it did, sir, in the very throat on me, but I requited him for his lie, and I think, being too strong for him, though he took up my leg sometime, yet I made a shift to ask him out.
Is thy master stirring?
Enter Macbeth.
Our knocking has awaked him. Here he comes.
Good morrow, noble sir.
Okay, good morrow, both.
Is the king stirring, worthy Thane?
Not yet.
He did command me to call timely on him. I have almost slipped the hour.
I'll bring you to him.
I know this is a joyful trouble to you, but yet 'tis one.
The labor we delight in physics pain. This is the door.
I'll make so bold to call, for 'tis my limited service.
Goes the king hence today?
He does. He did appoint so.
The night has been unruly. Where we lay, our chimneys were blown down, and, as they say, lamentings heard in the air, strange screams of death, and prophesying, with accents terrible of dire combustion and confused events, new hatched to the woeful time. The obscure bird clamored the livelong night. Some say the earth was feverish and did shake.
'Twas a rough night.
My young remembrance cannot parallel a fellow to it.
Oh, horror, horror, horror! Tongue nor heart cannot conceive nor name thee.
What's the matter?
What's going on?
Confusion now hath made his masterpiece. Most sacrilegious murder hath broke ope the Lord's anointed temple and stole thence the life of the building.
What did you say? The life.
Mean you his majesty?
Approach the chamber and destroy your sight with a new Gorgon. Do not bid me speak. See, and then speak yourselves. Awake! Awake! Ring the alarm bell! Murder and treason! Banquo and Donalbain! Malcolm, awake! Shake off this downy sleep, death's counterfeit, and look on death itself. Up, up, and see the great doom's image. Malcolm, Banquo, as from your graves, rise up and walk like sprites to countenance this horror. Ring the bell.
What is this business that such a hideous trumpet calls to parley the speakers of the house? The sleepers of the house. Speak, speak.
Oh, gentle lady, 'tis not for you to hear what I can speak. The repetition in a woman's ear would murder as it fell.
Enter Banquo.
Oh, Banquo, Banquo, our royal master's murdered.
Whoa. Alas, what in our house?
Too cruel anywhere. Dear Duff, I prithee, contradict thyself and say it is not so.
Enter Macbeth, Lennox, and Ross.
I had but died an hour before this chance. I had lived a blessed time. From From this instant, there's nothing serious in mortality. All is but toys. Renown and grace is dead. The wine of life is drawn, and the mere lees is left this vault to brag of.
Enter Malcolm and Donalbain.
What is amiss?
You are, and do not know it. The spring, the head, the very fountain of your blood is stopped. The very source of it is stopped.
Your royal father is murdered.
Oh, by whom?
Those of his chamber, as it seemed, had done it. Their hands and faces were all badged with blood. So were their daggers, which unwiped we found upon their pillows. They stared and were distracted. No man's life was to be trusted with them.
Oh, yet I do repent me of my fury that I did kill them.
Wherefore did you so?
Who can be wise, amazed, temperate, and furious, loyal and neutral in a moment? No man. The expedition of my violent love outran the pauser, reason. Here lay Duncan, his silver skin laced with his golden blood, and gashed stabs looked like a breach in nature for ruin's wasteful entrance. There the murderers, steeped in the colors of their trade, their daggers unmannerly breached with gore. Who could refrain that had a heart to love, and in that heart courage to make loves known?
Help me hence, ho!
Look to the lady.
Why do we hold our tongues, that most may claim this argument for ours?
What should be spoken here, where our fate, hidden in auger hole, may rush and seize us? Let's away. Our tears are not yet brewed.
Nor our strong sorrow upon the foot of motion.
Look to the lady. And when we have our naked frailties hid that suffer in exposure, let us meet and question this most bloody piece of work to know it further. Fears and scruples shake us. In the great hand of God I stand, and thence against the undivulged pretense I fight of treasonous malice.
And so do I.
So all. Let's briefly put on manly readiness and meet together in the hall.
Well contented.
Well contented.
Contented.
What will you do? Let's not consort with them. To show an unfelt sorrow is an office which the false man does easy. I'll to England.
To Ireland I. Our separated fortune shall keep us both the safer. Where we are, there's daggers in men's smiles. The near in blood, the nearer bloody.
This murderous shaft that's shot hath not yet lighted, and our safest way is to avoid the aim. Therefore, to horse. And let us not be dainty of leave-taking, but shift away. There's warrant in that theft which steals itself when there's no mercy left.
Scene 4. Outside Macbeth's castle. Enter Ross.
Within the volume of my time I have seen hours dreadful and things strange. This sore night hath trifled former knowings. Thou seest the heavens, as troubled with man's act, threatens his bloody stage. By the clock, 'tis day, and yet in dark night strangles the travelling lamp. Is it night's predominance, or the day's shame that darkness doth the face of earth and tomb when living light should kiss it? 'Tis unnatural, even like the deed that's done. On Tuesday last, a falcon, towering in her pride of place, was by a mousing owl hawked at and killed. And Duncan's horses, a thing most strange and certain, beauteous and swift, the minions of their race, turned wild in nature, broke their stalls, flung out, contending against obedience as they would make war with mankind. Here comes the good Macduff. How goes the world, sir, now?
Why, see you not?
Is it known who did this more than bloody deed?
Those that Macbeth hath slain.
Alas the day, what good could they pretend?
They were suborned. Malcolm and Donalbain, the king's two sons, are stolen away and fled, which puts on them suspicion of the deed.
Against nature still, thriftless ambition that will raven up thine own lives' means. Then 'tis most like the sovereignty will fall upon Macbeth.
He is already named and gone to Scone to be invested.
Where is Duncan's body?
Carried to Comkill, the sacred storehouse of his predecessors and guardian of their bones.
Will you just come?
No, cousin, I'll to 5.
Well, I will thither.
Well, may you see things well done there. Adieu, lest our old robes sit easier than our new.
There will now be a brief intermission, enough time for you to refresh yourselves, fill up your goblets, and fill up a new tray of eyeballs. Please take 15 minutes on our account. We'll see you shortly. We welcome you back to BYO Shakespeare's presentation of Macbeth. Act 3, Scene 1, Forest, the Palace. Enter Banquo.
Thou hast it now, King, Cawdor, Glamis, all as the weird women promised. And I fear thou play'st at most foully for it. Yet it was said it should not stand in thy posterity, but that myself should be the root and father of many kings. If there come truth from them, as upon thee, Macbeth, their speeches shine, why, by the verities on thee made good, may not they be my oracles as well, and set me up in hope? But hush, no more.
Enter Macbeth as king, Lady Macbeth, Lennox, Ross, lords, and attendants.
Well, here's our chief guest.
If he had been forgotten, it had been as a gap in our great feast, and all things unbecoming.
Tonight we hold a solemn supper, sir, and I'll request your presence.
Let your highness command upon me, to the which my duties are with a most indissoluble tie forever knit.
Ride you this afternoon?
Aye, my good lord.
We should have else desired your good advice, which still hath been both grave and prosperous in this day's council, but we'll take tomorrow. Is it far you ride?
As far, my lord, as will fill up the time twixt this and supper. Go not my horse the better. I must be a borrower of the night for a dark hour or twain.
Fail not our feast.
My lord, I will not.
We hear our bloody cousins are bestowed in England and Ireland, not confessing their cruel parricide, but feeling their hearers a strange invention. But more on that tomorrow, when therewithal we shall have cause of state craving us jointly. Hie to horse. Adieu, till you return at night. Goes Fleance with you?
Aye, my good lord. Our time does call upon us.
I wish your horses sure and swift of foot, and so I do commend you to their backs. Farewell. Let every man be a master of his time till 7 tonight. To make society sweeter welcome, we'll keep ourselves to supper time alone. While then, God be with you. To be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus. Our fears in Banquo stick deep, and in his royalty of nature reigns that which would be feared. 'Tis much he dares. To keep that dauntless temper of his mind hath a wisdom that doth guide his valor to act in safety. There is none but he whose being I fear, and under him my genius is rebuked, as it is said Mark Antony's was by Caesar. He chid the sisters when they first put the name of king on me, and bade them speak to him. Then, prophet-like, they hailed him as a father to a line of kings, and upon my head they placed a fruitless crown and put a barren scepter in my grip, since to be wrenched with an unilineal hand, no son of mine succeeding. If it be so, for Banquo's issue have I filed my mind. For them, the gracious Duncan, have I murdered. Put rancors in the vessel of my peace only for them, and mine eternal jewel given to the common enemy of man, to make them kings, the seeds of Banquo kings. Rather than so, come fate into the list and champion me to the utterance. Who's there?
Enter 2 murderers.
Was it not yesterday we spoke together?
It was, so please your highness.
Well now, have you considered of my speeches? Know that it was he in times past which held you so under fortune, which you thought had been our innocent self. This I made good to you in our last conference, passed in probation with you, how you were borne in hand, how crossed the instruments, who wrought with them, and all things that might to half a soul and notion craze say, thus did Banquo.
You made it known to us.
I did so, and went further, which is now our second point of meeting. Do you find your patience so predominant in your nature that you can let this go? Are you so gospelled to pray for this good man and his issue, whose heavy hand hath bowed you to the grave and beggared yours forever?
We are men, my liege.
Aye, in the catalogue you go for men, as hounds and greyhounds, mongrels, spaniels, curs, shows, water-rugs, and demi-wools are clept, all by the name of dogs. The valued file distinguishes the swift, the slow, the subtle, the housekeeper, the hunter, every one according to the gift which bounteous nature hath in him closed, whereby he does receive particular addition from the bill that writes them all alike. And so of men. Now, if you have a station in the file, not in the worst rank of manhood, say it, and I will put that business in your bosoms whose execution takes your enemy off, grapples you to the heart and love of us, who wear our health but sickly in his life, which in his death were perfect.
I am one, my liege, whom the vile blows and buffets of the world have so incensed that I am reckless what I do to spite the world.
And I another so weary with disasters, tugged with fortune, that I would set my life on any chance to mend it or be rid it.
Both of you know Banquo is your enemy.
True, my lord.
So he is mine, and such bloody distance that every minute of his being thrusts against my nearest of life. And though I could with barefaced power sweep him from my sight and bid my will avouch it, yet I must not, for certain friends that are both his and mine, whose loves I must not drop, but wail his fall who I myself struck down. And thence is that I to your assistance do make love, making the business from the common eye for sundry weighty reasons.
We shall, my lord, perform what you command us.
Though our lives...
Your spirits shine through you. Within this hour at most, I will advise you where to plant yourselves. Acquaint yourself with the perfect spy of the time, the moment on it, for it must be done tonight. And something from the palace. Always thought that I require a clearness, and with him to leave no rubs or botches in the work. Fleance, his son, that keeps him company, whose absence is no less material to me than his father's, must embrace the fate of that dark hour. Resolve yourselves apart. I'll come to you anon.
We are resolved, my lord.
I'll call upon you straight. Abide within. It is concluded. Banquo, thy soul's flight, if it find in heaven, must find it out tonight.
Scene 2. The palace. Enter Lady Macbeth.
Not had, all spent, where our desire is got without content. 'Tis safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy.
Enter Macbeth.
How now, my lord, why do you keep alone of sorriest fancies your companions making, using those thoughts which should indeed have died with them they think on? Things without all remedy should be without regard. What's done is done.
We have scorched the snake, not killed it. She'll close and be herself, while all poor Malice remains in danger of her former tooth. But let the frame of things disjoint. Both the worlds suffer ere we eat our meal in fear and sleep in the affliction of these terrible dreams that shake us nightly. Better be with the dead whom we, to gain our peace, have sent to peace, than on the torture of the mind to lie in restless ecstasy. Duncan is in his grave, and life's fitful fever he sleeps well. Treason has done his worst, nor steel nor poison, malice domestic, foreign levy, nothing can touch him further.
Come on, gentle my lord, sleek all your rugged looks, be bright and joyful with your guests tonight.
So shall I, love, and I pray be so you. Let your remembrance apply to Banquo, present him eminence both with eye and tongue, unsafe the while that we must lave our honors with these flattering streams and make our faces vizards to our hearts, disguising what they are.
We must leave this.
Full of scorpions is my mind, dear wife. Thou knowest that Banquo and his Fleance lives.
But in them nature's copy not a turn.
Where's comfort yet? They are assailable. Then be thou jocund. Ere had the bat hath flown his cloistered flight, ere to black Hecate's summons the shard-born beetle with his drowsy hums hath rung night's yawning peal, there shall be done a deed of dreadful note.
What's to be done?
The innocent of the knowledge dares chuck till thou applaud the deed. Come, sealing night, scarf up the tender eye of pitiful day, and with thy bloody and invisible hand cancel and tear to pieces that great bond which keeps me pale. Light thickens, and the crow makes wing to the rooky wood. Good things of the day begin to droop and drowse, whilst night's black agents to their praise do rouse. Thou marvelst at my words, but hold thee still. Things bad begun make strong themselves by ill. So prithee, go with me.
Scene 3, a park near the palace. Enter the murderers.
The west yet glimmers with some streaks of day. Now spurs the lated traveller apace to gain the timely inn, and near approaches the subject of our watch.
Here, horses.
Within, give us a light there, ho!
Then 'tis he. The rest that are within the note of expectation already are in the court.
His horses go about.
Almost a mile, but he does usually, so all men do, from hence to the palace gate make their walk.
Enter Banquo with his son Fleance, carrying a torch.
Right.
'Tis he. Stand to it.
It will be rain tonight.
Let it come down.
The murderers attack.
Oh, treachery! Fly, good Fleance! Fly, fly, fly! Thou mayst revenge! Oh, slave!
Banquo dies.
Who did strike out the light?
Was not that way?
Come on down. The sun is fled. We have lost best half of our fare.
Well, let's away and say how much is done.
Scene 4, a hall in the palace. A banquet is prepared. Enter King Macbeth, Lady Macbeth, Ross, Lennox, lords in attendance.
You know your own degrees. Sit down. And first, at last, the hearty welcome.
Thanks to your majesty.
Ourself will mingle with society and play the humble host. Our hostess keeps her state, but in best time we will require her welcome.
Pronounce it for me, sir, to all our friends, for my heart speaks they are welcome.
The first murderer comes to the door.
See they encounter with their hearts' thanks. Both sides are even. Here, I'll sit in the midst, be large in mirth, and we'll drink a measure the table round. There's blood upon thy face.
'Tis Banquo's then.
'Tis better he be without than he within, as he dispatched.
My lord, his throat is cut. That I did for him.
Thou art the best of cutthroats, yet he's as good that did the like for Fleance. If thou didst it, thou art the nonpareil.
Most royal sir, Fleance escaped.
Then comes my fit again. I had else been perfect, whole as the marvel, founded as the rock, as broad and general as the casing air. But now I am cabined, cribbed, confined, bound to saucy doubts and fears. But Banquo is safe.
Aye, my good lord. Safe in a ditch he bides, with 20 trenched gashes on his head, the least a death to nature.
Thanks for that. There the grown serpent lies. The worm that's fled hath nature in a time will venom breed. No teeth for the present. Get thee gone. Tomorrow we'll hear ourselves again.
My royal lord, you do not give good cheer. The feast is sold, that is no often vouch, while 'tis a making, 'tis given with welcome. To feed were best at home, from thence the sauce to meet is ceremony, meeting were bare without it.
Enter the ghost of Banquo and sits in Macbeth's place.
Oh, sweet remembrancer. Now good digestion, wait on appetite, and health to both.
May't please your highness sit.
Here had we now our country's honor roofed, toward the graced person of our Banquo present, who I may challenge rather for unkindness than pity for mischance.
His absence, sir, lays blame upon his promise. Please your highness to grace us with your royal company?
The table's full.
Here is a place reserved, sir.
Where?
Here, my good lord. What is it that moves your highness?
Which of you have done this?
What, my good lord?
Thou canst not say I did it. Never shake thy gory locks at me.
Gentlemen, rise. His highness is not well.
Sit, worthy friends. My lord is often thus, and hath been from his youth. Pray you, keep seat. The fit is momentary. Upon a thought he will again be well. If much you note him, you shall offend him and extend his passion. Feed and regard him not. Are you a man?
I, and a bold one that dares look on that might appall the devil himself.
Oh, proper stuff. This is the very painting of your fear. This is the air-drawn dagger which you said led you to Duncan. Oh, these flaws and starts, impostors to true fear, would well become a woman's story at a winter fire authorized by her grandam. Shame itself. Why do you make such faces? When all's done, you look but on a stool.
Prithee, see there. Behold, look! Lo, how say you? What care I? If thou canst nod, speak too. If charnel houses and our graves must send those we bury back, our monument shall be the maws of kites.
What? Quite unmanned in folly.
If I stand here, I saw him.
Oh, why, for shame.
Blood hath been shed ere now. In the olden time, ere humane statute purged the gentle wheel, aye, and since 2 murders have been performed, too terrible for the ear. The time was that when the brains were out, the man would die, and there an end. And now they rise again with 20 mortal murders on their crowns and push us from our stools. This is more strange than such a murder is.
My worthy lord, your noble friends do lack you.
Did you forget? Do not muse at me, worthy friends. I have a strange infirmity, which is nothing to those that know me. Come, love and health to all, then I'll sit down. Give me some wine, fill full.
The ghost re-enters.
I drink to the general joy of the whole table. And our dearest friend Banquo, whom we miss, would that he were here. To all and to him we thirst, to all.
Our duties and the pledge.
Avaunt and quit my sight! Let the earth hide thee! Thy bones are marrowless and thy blood is cold. There is no speculation in those eyes which thou dost glare with.
Think of this, good peers, but as a thing of custom, 'tis no other, only it spoils the pleasure of the time.
What men dare, I dare. Approach thou like the Russian bear, the armed rhinoceros, or the Hicran tiger. Take any shape but that, and my firm nerves shall never tremble. Or be alive again, and dare me to the desert with thy sword. If trembling I inhabit, then protest me the baby of a girl. Hence, horrible shadow! Unreal mockery, hence! So, being gone, I am a man again. Pray you sit still.
You have displaced the mirth, broke the good meeting with most admired disorder.
Can such things be and overcome like a summer's cloud without our special wonder? You make me strange even to the disposition that I owe, and now I think that you can behold such sights and keep the natural ruby of your cheeks when mine is blanched with fear.
What sights, my lord?
I pray you, speak not. He grows worse and worse. A question enrages him. At once, good night. Stand not upon the order of your going, but go at once.
Good night, and better health attend his majesty.
A kind good night to all.
It will have blood, they say. Blood will have blood. Stones have been known to move and trees to speak. Augurs and understood relations have by maggot pies and chows and rooks brought forth the secretest man of blood. What is the night?
Almost at odds with morning, which is which.
How sayest thou that Macduff denies his person at our great bidding?
Did you send to him, sir?
I hear it by the way, but I will send. There's not a one of them but in his house I keep a servant feed. I will tomorrow, and betimes I will to the Weird Sisters. More shall they speak, for now I am bent to know by the worst means the worst. For mine own good all causes shall give way. I am in blood steeped so far that, should I wade no more, returning was too tedious as to go o'er. Strange things I have in head that will to hand, which must be acted ere they be scanned.
You lack the season of all natures. Sleep.
Right, come, will to sleep. My strange and self-abuse is the initiate fear that wants hard use. We are yet but young, indeed.
Scene 6. Forest, the palace. Enter Lennox and Ross.
My former speeches have but hit your thoughts, which can interpret farther. Only I say things have been strangely born. The gracious Duncan was pitied of Macbeth. Marry, he was dead, and the right valiant Banquo walked too late, whom you may say, if it please you, Fleance killed, for Fleance fled. Men must not walk too late. Who cannot want the thought how monstrous it was for Malcolm and for Donalbain to kill their gracious father? Damn it, fact, how it did grieve Macbeth. Did he not straight in pious rage the two delinquents tear that were the slaves of drink and thralls of sleep? Was that not nobly done? Aye, and wisely too, for 'twould have angered any heart alive to hear the men deny it. So that I say he has borne all things well. And I do think that had he Duncan's sons under his key, and as it please heaven he shall not, they should find that 'twere to kill a father. So should Fleance. But peace. For from broad words, and cause he failed his presence at the tyrant's feast, I hear Macduff lives in disgrace. Sir, can you tell where he bestows himself?
The son of Duncan, from whom this tyrant holds the due of birth, lives in the English court, and is received of the most pious Edward with such grace that the malevolent of fortune nothing takes from his high respect. Thither Macduff is gone to pray the holy king upon his aid, to wake Northumberland and warlike Seward, that, by the help of these, with him above, to ratify the work, we may again give to our tables meat, sleep to our nights, free from our feasts and banquets bloody knives, do faithful homage, and receive free honours, all which we pine for now. And this report hath so exasperated the king that he is, prepares for some attempt of war.
Sent he to Macduff?
He did. And with an absolute, "Sir, not I," the cloudy messenger turns me his back, and hums as who should say, "You'll rue the time that clogs me with the answer."
That well might advise him to a cautionate hold what distance his wisdom can provide. Some holy angel fly to the court of England and unfold his message ere he come, that a swift blessing may soon return to this our suffering country, under a hand accursed.
I'll send my prayers with him.
Act 4, Scene 1. A cavern. In the middle, a boiling cauldron. Enter the three witches.
Thrice the brinded cat hath mewed.
Thrice and one the hedge pig whined.
Harpier cries, "'Tis time, 'tis time."
Round about the cauldron go, and in the poisoned entrails throw.
Toad that under cold stone days and nights has 31.
Sweltered venom sleeping got, boil thou first in the charmed pot.
Double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Fillet of a fenny snake in the cauldron boil and bake.
Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog.
Adder's fork and blindworm's sting, lizard's leg and howl its wing.
For a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth boil and bubble.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, maw and gulp.
Of the ravine salt sea shark, root of hemlock digged in the dark.
Liver of blaspheming shrew, gall of goat and slips of yew.
Slithered in the moon's eclipse, nose of fool and lover's lips.
Finger of a birth-strangled babe, ditch delivered by a drab, make the gruel thick and slab.
Add thereto a tiger's children for the ingredients of our cauldron.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Cool it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good.
Oh, well done. I commend your pains, and everyone shall share in the gains.
And now about the cauldron sing, like elves and fairies in a ring, enchanting all that you put in.
By the pricking of my thumbs, something evil this way comes.
Open locks, whoever knocks.
Enter Macbeth.
Oh, now, you secret, black and midnight hags. What is it you do?
A deed.
Out.
A name.
I conjure you by that which you profess, however you come to know it. Answer me. Though you untie the winds and let them fight against churches, though the yeasty waves confound and swallow navigation up, though bladed corn be lodged and trees blown down, though castles topple on the warders' heads, though palaces and pyramids do slope their heads to their foundations, though the treasure of nature's germans tumble all together, even till destruction sicken, answer me to what I ask you.
Speak.
And
we'll answer.
Pour in sow's blood that hath eaten her 9 pharaoh. Grease that sweating from the murderer's gibbet, throw into the flame.
Come high or low.
Thyself and office deftly show.
Tell me, thou unknown power.
We know thy thought. Hear my speech, but say thou not. Macbeth, Macbeth. Beware, Macduff. Beware the Thane of Fife. Dismiss me. Enough.
Whatever thou art, for thy good caution, thanks. Thou hast heart to my fear aright. But one word more.
We will not be commanded. Here's another more potent than the first.
Macbeth, Macbeth, Macbeth.
Had I 3 ears, I'd hear thee.
Be bloody, bold, and resolute. Laugh to scorn the powers of man, for none of woman born shall harm Macbeth.
And live, Macduff, what need I fear thee? Yet I'll make assurance double sure, and take a bond of fate. Thou shalt not live, that I may tell pale-hearted fear it lies, and sleep in spite of thunder.
Be lion-mettled, proud, and take no care who chafes, who frets, or where conspirers are. Macbeth shall never vanquished be until great Burnham Wood to high Dunsinane Hill shall come against him.
That will never be. Who can impress the forest? Bid the tree unfix his earthbound roots. Sweet bodements, good. Rebellious dead rise never till the wood of Burnham rise, and our high-placed Macbeth shall live the least by nature, pay his breath to time and mortal custom. Yet my heart throbs to know one more thing. Tell me, if your art can tell so much, shall Banquo's issue ever reign in this kingdom?
Seek to know no more.
I will be satisfied. An eternal curse upon you if you deny me this. Let me know.
Show.
Oh.
Show.
Show his eyes.
And grieve his heart.
Come like shadows, so depart.
An apparition of 8 kings appear, the 8th king with a glass in his hand, and Banquo last.
Art too like the spirit of Banquo. Down! Thy crown does sear my eyeballs. Filthy hags, why would you show me this? What, the line will stretch to the crack of doom? I'll see no more. Which some I see the twofold balls and treble scepters carry. Horrible sight. Now I see 'tis true, for the blood-boltered Banquo smiles upon me and points at them for his. What is this so?
Aye, sir, all this is so. But why stands Macbeth thus amazedly? Come, sisters, cheer we up his sprites, and show the best of our delights. I'll charm the air to give a sound, while you perform your antic round, that this great king may kindly say our duties did his welcome pay.
Where are they? Gone. Let this pernicious hour stand I accursed in the calendar. Come I, without there.
Enter Lennox.
What's your grace's will?
Saw you the Weird Sisters.
No, my lord.
Came they not by you?
No, indeed, my lord.
Infected be the air on thy ride, and damned all those that trust them. I did hear the galloping of a horse. Who was it came by?
'Tis 2 or 3, my lord, that bring you word Macduff is fled to England.
Fled to England?
Aye, my good lord.
Time thou anticipatest my dread exploits. Flighty purposes narrower took, unless the deed go with it. From this moment, the very firstlings of my heart shall be the firstlings of my hand. And even now, to crown my thoughts with acts, be it thought and done, the castle of Macduff I'll surprise. Seize upon Fife, give to the edge of the sword his wife, his babes, and all unfortunate souls that trace him in his line. No boasting like a fool. This deed I'll do before the purpose coal. But no more sights. Where are these gentlemen? Come, bring me where they are.
Scene 2. Fife, Macduff's castle. Enter Macduff's wife, her son, and Ross.
What had he done to make him fly the land?
You must have patience, madam.
He had none. His flight was madness. When our actions do not, our fears do make us traitors.
You know not whether it was his wisdom or his fear.
Wisdom! To leave his wife, to leave his babes, his mansion, and his titles, and a place from whence himself does fly? He loves us not. He wants a natural touch. For the poor wren, the most diminutive of birds, will fight her young ones in her nest against the owl. All is fear and nothing is the love. As little is the wisdom where the flight so runs against all reason.
My dearest coz, I pray you school yourself. But for your husband, he is noble, wise, judicious, and best knows the fits of the season. I dare not speak much further, but cruel are the times when we are traitors and do not know ourselves, when we hold rumor from what we fear, yet know not what we fear, but float upon a wild and violent sea, each way and move. I take my leave of you. Shall not be long, but I'll be here again. Things at the worst will cease, or else climb upward to what they were before. My pretty cousin, blessing upon you.
Fathered he is, and yet he's fatherless.
I am so much a fool. Should I stay longer, it would be my disgrace and your discomfort. I take my leave at once.
Sirrah, your father's dead, and what will you do now? How will you live?
As birds do, mother.
What, with worms and flies?
With what I get, I mean, and so do they.
Poor bird, thou dost never fear the net nor the lime, the pitfall nor the gin.
Why should I, mother? Poor birds they are not set for. My father is not dead, for all you are saying.
Yes, he is dead. How wilt thou do for a father?
Nay, how will you do for a husband?
Why, I can buy me 20 at any market.
Then you'll buy him to sell again.
Thou speakst with all thy wit, and yet in faith with wit for enough for thee.
Was my father a traitor, mother?
Aye, that he was.
What is a traitor?
Oh, why, one who swears and lies.
And be all traitors that do so?
Every one that does so is a traitor and must be hanged.
And must they all be hanged that swear and lie?
Every one.
Who must hang them?
Why, the honest men.
Then the liars and swearers are fools, for there are liars and swearers enough to beat the honest men and hang up them.
Now God help thee, poor monkey. But what wilt thou do for a father?
If you were dead, you'd weep for him. If you would not, it were a good sign that I should quickly have a new father.
Poor prattler, how thou talkest.
Enter a messenger.
Bless you, fair dame. I am not to you known, though in your state of honor I am perfect. I doubt some danger does approach you nearly. If you will take a homely man's advice, be not here, hence with your little ones. To fright you thus, methinks I am too savage. To do worse to you were fell cruelty, which is too nigh your person. Heaven preserve you, I dare abide no longer.
Why should I fly? I have done no harm. But I remember now I am in this earthly world, where to do harm is often laudable. To do good sometime accounted dangerous folly. Why then, alas, do I put up with that womanly defense to say I have done no harm?
Enter the murderers.
What are these faces?
Where's your husband?
I hope in no such place so unsanctified where such as thou mayst find him.
He's a traitor.
Thou liest, thou shag-eared villain.
Put you egg, young fry of treachery.
He has killed me, mother. Run away, I pray you.
Lady Macbeth exits crying, followed by the murderers bearing the son's body. Scene 3, England, before the king's palace. Enter Malcolm and Macduff.
Let us seek out some desolate shade, and there weep our sad bosoms empty.
Let us rather hold fast to the mortal sword, and, like good men, bestride our downfallen birthstone. Each new morn, new widows howl, new orphans cry, new sorrows strike heaven on the face, that it resounds as if it felt with Scotland, and yelled out like syllable of dolor.
What I believe, I'll wail. What no believe, and what I can redress. As I shall find the time befriend, I will. What you have spoke, it may be so, perchance. This tyrant, whose sole name blisters our tongues, was once thought honest. You have loved him well. He hath not touched you yet. I am young, but something you may discern of him through me, and wisdom to offer up a poor innocent lamb to appease an angry god.
I am not treacherous.
But Macbeth is. Her good and virtuous nature may recoil in an imperial charge, but I shall crave your pardon. That which you are my thoughts cannot transpose. Angels are bright still, through the brightest fell. Through all things fall would wear the brows of grace, yet grace must still look so.
I have lost my hopes.
Perchance, even there where I did find my doubts, why in that rawness left you wife and child, those precious motives, those strong knots of love, without leave taking? I pray you, let not my jealousies be your dishonors, but mine own safeties. You may be rightly just, whatever I shall think.
Bleed, bleed, poor country. Great tyranny, lay thou thy bases sure, for goodness dare not check thee. Wear thou thy wrongs, thy title is afeard. Fare thee well, lord. I would not be the villain that thou think'st, for the whole space that's in the tyrant's grasp, and the rich East to boot.
Be not offended. I speak not as an absolute fear of you. I think our country sinks beneath the yoke. It weeps, it bleeds, and each new day a gash is added to her wounds. I think, withal, there would be hands uplifted in my right. And here, from gracious England, have I offer of goodly thousands. But for all this, when I shall tread upon the tyrant's head, or wear it on my sword, yet my poor country shall have more vices than it had before, more suffer, and more sundry ways than ever, by him that shall succeed.
What should he be?
It is myself, I mean, in whom I know all the particulars of vice so grafted that when they shall be opened, black Macbeth will seem as pure as snow, and the poor state esteem him as a lamb, being compared with my confineless harms.
Not in the legions of horrid hell can come a devil more damned in evils to top Macbeth.
I grant him bloody, luxurious, avaricious, false, deceitful, sudden, malicious, smacking of every sin that has a name. But there's no bottom, none, in my voluptuousness. Your wives, your daughters, your matrons, and your maids could not fill up the cistern of my lust. At my desire, all continent impediments would o'erbear that did oppose my will. Better Macbeth than such a one to reign.
Boundless intemperance in nature is a tyranny. It hath been the untimely emptying of the happy throne and fall of many kings. But fear not yet to take upon you what is yours. You may convey your pleasures in a spacious plenty, and yet seem cold, the time you may so hoodwink. We have willing dames enough. There cannot be that vulture in you to devour so many as will to greatness dedicate themselves, finding it so inclined.
With this there grows, in my most ill-composed affection, such a staunchless avarice, that I were king, I should cut off the nobles for their lands, desire his jewels, and this other's house, and my more having would be as a sauce to make me hunger more, that I should forge quarrels unjust against the good and loyal, destroying them for wealth.
This avarice sticks deeper, grows with more pernicious root than summer seeming lust, and it hath been the sword of our slain kings. Yet do not fear, Scotland hath foisons to fill up your will of your mere own. All these are portable, with other graces weighed.
But I have none, the king becoming graces, as justice, verity, temperance, stableness, bounty, perseverance, mercy, lowliness, devotion, patience, courage, fortitude. I have no relish of them, but abound in the division of each several crime, acting it many ways. Nay, had I power, I should pour the sweet milk of concord into hell, uproar the universal peace, confound all unity on earth.
Oh, Scotland, Scotland.
If such a one be fit to govern, speak. I am as I have spoken.
Fit to govern? No, not to live. O nation miserable, with an untitled tyrant bloody sceptred, when shalt thou see thy wholesome days again, since that the truest issue of thy throne by his own interdiction stands accursed, and does blaspheme his breed? Thy royal father was a most sainted king. The queen that bore thee, oftener upon her knees than on her feet, died every day she lived. Fare thee well. These evils thou repeat'st upon thyself hath banished me from Scotland. O my breast, thy hope ends here.
Macduff, this noble passion, child of integrity, hath from my soul wiped the black scruples, reconciled my thoughts to thy good truth and honor. Devilish Macbeth, by many of these trains, hath sought to win me into his power, and modest wisdom plucks me from overcredulous haste. But God above, deal between thee and me, for even now I put myself to thy direction, and unspeak mine own detraction. Here abjure the taints and blames I laid upon myself. for strangers to my nature. I am yet unknown to woman, never was forsworn, scarcely have coveted what was mine own. At no time broke my faith, would not betray the devil to his fellow, and delight no less in truth than life. My first false speaking was this upon myself. What I am truly is thine and my poor country's to command. Whither indeed, before thy here approach, old Seward with 10,000 warlike men, already at a point, was setting forth. Now we'll together, and the chance of goodness be like our warranted quarrel. Why are you silent?
Such welcome and unwelcome things at once. 'Tis hard to reconcile.
Enter Ross.
See who comes here.
My countryman, and yet I know him not.
My ever-gentle cousin, welcome hither.
I know him now. Good God, betimes remove the means that makes us strangers.
Sir, amen.
Stand Scotland where it did?
Alas, poor country, almost afraid to know itself, cannot be called our mother, but our grave, where nothing but who knows nothing is once seen to smile, where sighs and groans and shrieks that rent the air are made, not marked, where violent sorrow seems a modern ecstasy. Dead men's knell is there scarce asked for, who, and good men's lives expire before the flowers in their caps, dying or ere they sicken.
Oh, relation too nice, and yet too true.
What's the newest grief?
That of an hour's age doth hiss the speaker. Each minute teems a new one.
How does my wife?
Why, well.
And all my children?
Well, too.
The tyrant has not battered at their peace.
No, they were well at peace when I did leave them.
Be not tight-fisted of your speech. How goes it?
When I came hither to transport the tidings which I have heavily borne, there ran a rumour of many worthy fellows that were out, which was to my belief witnessed the rather for that what I saw the tyrant's power afoot. Now is the time of help. Your eye in Scotland would create soldiers, make our women fight to doff their dire distresses.
Be it their comfort, we are coming thither. Gracious England hath lent us good Seward and 10,000 men, an older and a better soldier none than Christendom gives out.
Would I could answer this comfort with the like. But I have words that would be howled out in the desert air where hearing should not match them.
What concern they? The general cause, or is it a fee-grief due to some single breast?
No mind that's honest, but in it shares some woe, though the main part pertains to you alone.
If it be mine, keep it not from me. Quickly, let me have it.
Let not your ears despise my tongue forever, which shall possess them with the heaviest sounds that ever yet they heard.
I guess at it.
Your castle is surprised. Your wife and babes savagely slaughtered. To relate the manner whereon the quarry of these murdered deer to add to the death of you.
Merciful heaven! What, man? Never pull your hat upon your brows. Give sorrow words. The grief that does not speak whispers the o'erfraught heart and bids it break.
My children too.
Wife, children, servants, all that could be found.
And I must be from thence. My wife, killed too.
I have said.
Be comforted. Let us make medicines of our great revenge to cure this deadly grief.
He has no children. All my pretty ones. Did you say all? Oh, Hellkite, all? What? All my pretty chickens and their dam at one fell swoop?
Dispute it like a man.
I shall do so. But I must also feel it as a man. I cannot but remember such things that were most precious to me. Did heaven look on, and would not take their part? Sinful Macduff, they were all struck for thee. Not that I am, not for their own demerits, but for mine, fell slaughter on their souls. Heaven rest them now.
Be this the whetstone of your sword. Let grief convert to anger. Blunt not the heart, enrage it.
Oh, I could play the woman with mine eyes, and braggart with my tongue. But, gentle heavens, cut short all intermission. Front to front, bring thou this fiend of Scotland, and myself, within my sword's length set him. If he scape, Heaven forgive him too.
This tune goes manly. Come, go we to the king. Our power is ready. Our lack is nothing but our leave. Macbeth is ripe for shaking, and the powers above put on their instruments. Receive what cheer you may. The night is long that never finds the day.
Act 5, Scene 1, Dunsinane. An anteroom in the castle. Enter a doctor of physic and a waiting gentlewoman. I have 2 nights watched with you, but can perceive no truth in your report. When was it last she walked?
Since His Majesty went into the field, I've seen her rise from her bed, roll her nightgown upon her, unlock her closet, take for her paper, fold it, write upon it, read it, afterwards seal it, and return again to bed. Yet all this while in a most foul sleep.
A great perturbation in nature to receive at once the benefit of sleep and do the effects of watching. In this slumbery agitation, besides her walking and other actual performances, what at any time have you heard her say?
That, sir, which I will not report after her.
You may to me, and 'tis meet you should.
Neither to you nor anyone, having no witness to confirm my speech. Lo you, here she comes. This is her very guise, and upon my life fast asleep. Observe her. Stand close.
How came she by that light?
Why, it stood by her. She has light by her continually. 'Tis her command.
You see her eyes are open.
Aye, but their sense are shut.
What is it she does now? Because she rubs her hands.
It is an accustomed action with her to seem thus washing her hands. I have known her continue in this for a quarter of an hour.
Yet here's a spot.
Hark, she speaks. I will sit down what comes from her to satisfy my remembrance the more strongly.
Oh, out, damned spot. Out, I say, 1, 2. Why then, 'tis time to do it. Hell is murky. Oh, fie, my lord, fie, a soldier and afeard. What need we fear? Who knows it when none can call our power to account? Yet who would have thought the old man to have had so much blood in him?
Do you mark that?
The Thane of Fife had a wife. Where is she now? What will these hands ne'er be clean? No more of that, my lord, no more of that, you mar all with this starting.
Go to, you'd known what you should not.
She has spoke what she should not, I am sure of that.
Here's the smell of the blood still. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Oh.
What a sigh is there. The heart is sorely charged.
Oh, I would not have such a heart in my bosom for the dignity of the whole body.
Well.
Pray God it be, sir.
This disease is beyond my practice. Yet I have known those which have walked in their sleep who have died holily in their beds.
Oh, wash your hands, put on your nightgown, look not so pale. I tell you yet again, Banquo's buried, he cannot come out on's grave.
Even so?
To bed. There's knocking at the gate. Come. Give me your hand. What's done cannot be undone. To bed.
Will she now go to bed?
Directly.
Foul whisperings are abroad. Unnatural deeds do breed unnatural troubles. Infected minds to their deaf pillows will discharge their secrets. More needs she the divine than the physician. God forgive us all. Look after her. Remove from her the means of all annoyance and still keep eyes upon her. So, good night. My mind she's mated and amazed my sight. I think, but dare not speak.
Good night, good doctor.
Scene 2. The country near Dunsinane. Enter Menteith, Angus, Lennox, and soldiers.
The English power is near, led on by Malcolm, his uncle Silward, and the good Macduff. Revenge is burning them for their dear causes, would to the bleeding and the grim alarm excite the mortified man. Oh, near Burnham Wood shall we meet them. That way are they coming.
Who knows if Donald Bain be with his brother?
For certain, sir, he is not. I have a file of all the gentry, and many unrough youths that even now protest their first of manhood.
What does the tyrant?
Great Dunsinane he strongly fortifies. Some say he's mad, others that lesser hate him do call it valiant fury. But for certain he cannot buckle his distempered cause within the belt of rule.
Now does he feel his secret murder sticking on his hands. Now minutely revolts upbraid his faith breach. Those he commands move only in command, nothing in love. Now does he feel his title hang loose about him like a giant's robe upon a dwarfish thief.
Who then shall blame his pestered senses to recoil and start when all that is within him does condemn itself for being there?
Well, march we on to give obedience where 'tis truly owed. Meet we the medicine of the sickly weal, and with him pour we in our country's purge, each drop of us, or so much as it needs to do the sovereign flower and drown the weeds. Make we our march towards Burnham.
Scene 3. Dunsinane, a room in the castle. Enter Macbeth, doctor, and attendants.
Bring me no more reports. Let them fly all. Till Burnham Wood remove to Dunsinane, I cannot taint with fear. What's the boy Malcolm? Was he not born of woman? The spirits that know all mortal consequence have pronounced me thus. Fear not, Macbeth. None that's born of woman shall e'er have power upon thee. Then fly, false thanes, and mingle with the English epicures. The mind I sway and the heart I bear shall never sag with doubt nor shake with fear.
Enter the messenger.
Devil damn thee black, thou cream-faced loon. Where goest thou with that goose look?
There is 10,000
Geese, villain.
soldiers, sir.
Ugh, go and prick thy face over red with fear, thou lily-livered boy. What soldiers, Patch? Death of thy soul. Those linen cheeks of thine are counselors to fear. What soldiers, Wayface?
The English force, so please you.
Take thy face hence. This push will cheer me ever or disseat me now. I've lived long enough. My way of life is fallen into the seer, the yellow leaf, and that which should accompany old age has honor, love, obedience, troops of friends I must not look to have, but in their stead curses, not loud but deep, mouth honor, breath which the poor heart would fain deny and dare not. I'll fight till from my bones my flesh be hacked. Give me mine armor. Send out the horses. Scur the country road and hang those that talk of fear. Give me mine armor. How does your patient, doctor?
Not so sick, my lord, as she's troubled with thick coming fancies that keep her from her rest.
Cure her of that. Canst thou not minister to a mind diseased? Pluck from the memory a rooted sorrow and raise out the written troubles of the brain, and with some sweet oblivious antidote cleanse the stuffed bosom of that perilous stuff which weighs upon the heart?
Well, therein the patient must minister to himself.
Throw physic to the dogs, oh none of it. Come, put mine armor on. Give me my staff. Doctor, the thanes fly from me. Come, sir, dispatch. If thou couldst, doctor, cast the water of my land, find her disease, and purge it to a sound and pristine health, I would applaud thee to the very echo that should applaud again. Pull it off, I say. With rhubarb senna, what purgative drug would thee scour the English hence? Have you heard of them?
Aye, my good lord, your royal preparation makes us hear something.
Bring it after me. I'll not be afraid of death and bane till Burnham Wood come to Dunsinane.
Or I from Dunsinane away and clear, profit again should hardly draw me here. Scene 4, country near Burnham Wood. Enter Malcolm, Seward, Macduff, Menteith, Angus, and soldiers.
Cousins, I hope the days are near at hand that Chambers will be safe.
We doubt it nothing.
What wood is this before us?
Oh, the wood of Burnham.
Let every soldier hew him down a bow and bear it before him. Thereby shall we shadow the numbers of our host and make discovery ere in report of us.
We learn no other, but the confident tyrant keeps still in Dunsinane and will endure our setting down before it.
'Tis his main hope, for where there is advantage to be gone, both more and less have given him the revolt, and none serve with him but constrained things whose hearts are absent too.
Let our just censures attend the true event, and put we on industrious soldiership.
The time approaches that will with due decision make us know what we shall say we have and what we owe. Thoughts speculative their unsure hopes relate, but certain issue strokes must arbitrate. Towards which advance the war.
They exit marching. Scene 5. Within the castle of Dunsinane, Macbeth enters with soldiers.
Hang out our banners from the outward walls. The cry is still they come. Our castle strength will laugh to siege a scorn. Here let them lie till famine and the ague eat them up. Were they not forced with those that should be ours, we might have met them dareful beard to beard and beat them backward home.
Oh, my lady!
What was that noise? I've almost forgot the taste of fears. The time has been my senses would have cooled to hear a night shriek, and my fell of hair would at a dismal treatise rouse and stir as if life were in it. I have supped full of horrors. Direness, familiar to my slaughterous thoughts, cannot once start me.
Enter a messenger.
Wherefore was that cry?
The queen, my lord, is dead.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been time for such a word. Tomorrow and tomorrow, tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Enter another messenger.
Thou comest to use thy tongue, thy story quickly.
Gracious my lord, I should report that which I say I saw, but know not how to do it.
Well, say, sir.
As I did stand by watch upon the hill, I looked towards Burnham, and anon methought the wood began to move.
Liar and slave!
Let me endure your wrath if it be not so. Within this 3 miles may you see it coming. I say, a moving grove.
If thou speakest false, upon the next tree thou shalt hang alive, till famine claim thee. If thy speech be sooth, I care not if thou dost as much for me. I pull in resolution and begin to doubt the equivocation of the fiend that lies like the truth. Fear not till Burnham Wood do come to Dunsinane. Arm! Arm and out! If this which avouches does appear, there is nor flying hence, nor tarrying here. I begin to be weary of the sun, and wish the estate of the world were now undone. Ring the alarm bell! Blow, wind, come rack! At least we'll die with harness on our back.
Scene 6, Dunsinane Fields before the castle. Enter Malcolm, Seward, Macduff, and their army with bows.
Now near enough. Your levy screens throw down, and show like those you are. You, worthy uncle, shall with my cousin, your right noble son, lead our first battle. Worthy Macduff and we shall take upon what else remains to do, according to our order.
Very well. Do we but find the tyrant's power tonight, let us be beat if we cannot fight.
Make all our trumpets speak. Give them all breath, those clamorous harbingers of blood and death.
Enter Macbeth.
They have tied me to a stake. I cannot fly, but bear-like I must fight the course. What's he that was not born of woman? Such a one am I to fear or none. But swords I smile at, weapons laugh to scorn, brandished by that, so that's a man of woman born.
Macduff enters.
That way the noise is, Tyrant, show thy face. If thou beest slain, and with no stroke of mine, my wife and children's ghosts will haunt me still. I cannot strike at wretched kerns, whose arms are hired to bear their staves. Either thou, Macbeth, or else my sword, with an unbattered edge, I sheathe again, undeeded. There thou shouldst be. By this great clatter, one of greatest note seems broited. Let me find him, Fortune, and more I beg not.
Enter Malcolm and Seward.
This way, my lord. The castle's gently rendered. The tyrant's people on both sides do fight. The noble thanes do bravely in the war. The day almost itself professes yours, and little is to do.
We have met with foes that strike beside us.
Enter, sir, the castle.
In another part of the field enters Macbeth.
Why should I play the Roman fool and fall upon my own sword? Else I see lives. The gashes do better upon them.
Macduff enters.
I will hear that. Turn, hellhound, turn! Of all men else I have avoided thee. But keep thee back. My soul is much too charged with the blood of thine already.
I have no words. My voice is in my sword. Thou bloodier villain than words can give thee out.
You mar your labor. Sooner thee entrench in air with your keen blade and press as make me bleed. Let your sword fall on vulnerable crests. I bear a charmed life which must yield to none of woman born.
To spare thy charm, and let the angel whom thou still dost serve tell thee Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely ripped.
Cursed be the tongue that tells me so, for it hath cowed my better part of men. And let these juggling fiends be no more believed, that palter with us in a double sense, that keep the word of promise to our heart and break it to mine ear. I'll not fight with thee.
Then yield thee, coward, and live to be the glories and show of the time. We'll have thee, as our rarer monsters are, painted on a pole, and under it, here may you see the tyrant.
I will not yield to kiss the ground at young Malcolm's feet and be baited for the rebel curse. Though Burnham would be come to Dunsinane, and you opposed, being none of woman born, I'll try to last. Before my body I throw my warlike sword. Lay on, Macduff, and damned be him who cries, hold enough!
Enter Malcolm, Seward, Ross, Thanes, and soldiers.
I would the friends we miss were safe arrived.
Some must go off, and yet by these I see so great a day as this is cheaply bought.
Macduff is missing, and your noble son.
Your son, my lord, has paid a soldier's debt. He only lived but till he was a man, the which no sooner had his prowess confirmed in the unshrinking station where he fought, but like a man he died.
Then he is dead.
Aye, and brought off the field. Your cause of sorrow must not be measured by his worth, for then it hath no end.
Had he his hurts before?
Aye, on the front.
Why then, God's soldier be he. Had I as many sons as I have hairs, I would not wish them to a fairer death. And so his knell is knolled.
He's worth more sorrow, and that I'll spend for him.
He's worth no more. They say he parted well and paid his score, and so God be with him. Here comes newer comfort.
Enter Macduff with Macbeth's head.
Start the video. I know, we'll let you. It's us on that.
Hail, king, for so thou art. Behold where stands the cursed usurper's head. The time is free. I see thee compassed with thy kingdom's pearl, that speak my salutation in their minds, whose voices I desire aloud with mine. All hail, King of Scotland!
Hail,
King of Scotland!
Hail, King of Scotland!
We shall not spend a large expanse of time before we reckon with your several loves and make us even with you. My thanes and kinsmen, henceforth be earls, the first that ever Scotland in such an honor named. What's more to do, which would be planted newly with the time, as calling home our exiled friends abroad, that fled the snares of watchful tyranny, producing forth the cruel ministers of this dead butcher and his fiend-like queen, who, as 'tis thought, by self and violent hands took off her life. This, and what needful else that calls upon us, by the grace of grace, we will perform in measure, time, and place. So thanks to all at once, and to each one, whom we invite to see us crowned at Scone.
And now for the players. My name is Stan Diswykel. I read the stage directions and played the doctor.
I'm Sarah Gottman. I was your first murderer.
Caitlin Van Buren, second murderer.
Mary Nora Wolf, Lady Macduff.
Christopher Donaldson, I played Angus and the Porter.
My name is Carrie Moscow, and I played Menteith, the serving gentlewoman, and Fleance.
I'm Lillian Murphy, and I played Lennox.
I'm Kathy O'Shaughnessy, and I played Ross.
Phil Arquette, I played Malcolm.
Jeremiah Strickler, I played Dalbane and the Sun.
I'm Aaron Hunt. I was King Duncan and Seward.
I'm Sock Mabel. I played the messenger. And I'm Kat Dolan, and I played the first witch.
I'm Alana Spencer, and I was witch number 2.
I'm Sarah Ann Sutter, and I'm the third witch.
I'm Jordan Price, and I was Macduff.
I'm Mary Hovine, and I played Banquo.
I'm Julie Kelleher, and I played Lady Macbeth.
I'm Lauren Schneider, and I played regular Macbeth.
Thank you all so much for joining us. Cast, you're welcome to come back on camera if you would like to at this point. Thank you all to our audience who's tuning in live, as well as to anyone who's watching this later on. If you are on with us live, you're welcome to ask questions in the chat, and we will answer them. There is, of course, a delay between when you post those and when we see them by about 20 seconds. So we're going to give you a moment to do that while I am going to do a big reveal of what we are going to be doing next month. So one little moment here while I reveal, drum roll please. Titus Andronicus, just in time for the holidays, a wonderful family meal. Hark, villains, I will grind your bones. Yes, so we will be performing Titus Andronicus on November 20th, 7:30 Central Time, and we hope many of you will be able to tune in for that, either live or afterwards. I haven't seen any questions popping up yet so far, so I'll just say a couple of things, and if you come up with any other questions, we can always address those. So we started as a group of friends who knew that with quarantine and with needing to stay out of rehearsal spaces and performance spaces, that we were going to be really in dire need of some artistic outlet. And so we started by just reading a play every week. And that wasn't a performance, that was purely for us. And then eventually we were having so much fun that we decided we wanted to share that with everyone. So I'm based in Chicago, and so a lot of people are connected to Chicago, but then we have also expanded because, like many people, we have friends who are not just in one single time zone. And so now we are coast to coast in our friends who are joining us today. We have people from all over the place, quite a few in who are based in Chicago, but then also people who are elsewhere. Let's see. Oh, did we choreograph where everyone was on the screen? Yes. The answer is yes. There is I created a very large list of where everyone would be in every scene. And so there is an Excel file that has, okay, when these people are on stage, this is where you are in relation to the others. And that's actually been something that we've added more recently. Not something that we did previously, but then with our last reading, which was Tempest, we figured out that we could do that we could plan where everyone would be on the screen, and has added a lot to what we're doing. Ooh, we have a question about the fight scene and how long did you take to choreograph the fight scene? Now, I wasn't party to this at all. They just showed us the magnificence that they created. So I leave that to you, Lauren and Jordan. Who wants to talk about that?
I feel like we've been working on that for like off and on for what, like 2 weeks, something like that. We worked that out, worked the first day, worked like an hour and a half or something on it, just to get the first half down. And then the second half we did in 2 parts. So we did it on 2 different days, choreographing that part with the death and the dragging off as part of it. But yeah, so probably several hours at least over the course of 2 weeks or so. I think we worked on that, kind of trying to slowly work out what made sense to.
And we ran it a little bit every day, pretty much in that 2 weeks, to the point where when we had a prep mishap, we still remembered our choreography. So.
We love it. We love it. Yeah, it really turned out amazing. Ooh, we have a question about the makeup, and specifically the question. I love these questions. I love it. How was the makeup decided for each of the characters? And for that, we actually created it kind of all on our own. we all were inspired in different ways. The witches did have a special rehearsal where we talked about how we were going to do some tech elements, but we didn't actually talk about makeup. We just kind of talked about the general look for us. So it was basically individual groups of people decided how they were going to create their look. And the fun thing with these productions is if you've watched more than one of them, you'll notice we're really up in our game. I don't know what exactly is going to happen with Titus, but we're apparently gonna go even more all out. I'm not sure how that's possible, but we're gonna have some fun. All right. Ooh, let's see. How were the backgrounds chosen? That was mostly me and a lot of Google image searches to find things. I knew the different places that we needed to be, obviously, and with the nature of Macbeth, I wanted to try to make it clear that these were not all the same castle, right? Because we are in several different castles over the course of the show, and I wanted to try to make it clear where we were. Now, of course, none of these castles are castles the castles that I showed were not actually castles that existed in the time period in which Macbeth was set, but the ones that do still somewhat exist from that time are ruins of some level. So it wouldn't have been a very pretty look if we had just used those as the background. So I did actually try to find ones that were vaguely in the right location, although they certainly didn't look necessarily 100% accurate. But then I put them together. There was a whole lot of time and energy on that on my part, and then all of our friends who were able to do backgrounds. Obviously, not all of us have the technical capabilities to do backgrounds, which is why you see some of us with them and some of us without them. And then we put those into practice. All right, let's see. Any other questions? I haven't seen any other pop up. So I just want to thank you all so much for being here, for spending your Halloween with us or spending your post-Halloween with us. We hope that you had a wonderful time. We hope you will join us for Titus next month. And we do have the next one planned after that. So let's just say you're not going to get rid of us very quickly. We've got one in the works for further on down the line. So thank you all so much again for being here. This is a wonderful outlet for us because we all miss being in the rehearsal room and we miss being on stage. And it's not quite the same, but we have an awful lot of fun doing this and we're glad that you tuned in. Thank you all so much.